The Galactic Assembly did not fear humans. They barely noticed them. In the great chamber above the spiral arm of Keltar Prime, hundreds of species watched stars burn on floating holograms. Warships the size of cities drifted as projections, each marked with ancient victories. The galaxy's deadliest fleets were here in spirit: Ziran Devourers, Koth Dominion Dread Arcs, Valith Thought Carriers. And in the corner of the display, almost as an afterthought, was a small blue dot. Species designation: Humanity, the AI announced in a flat tone. Technological tier: Mid-industrial, early interstellar. Threat index: Negligible. A ripple of amusement passed through the chamber. They still use chemical propulsion, hissed the Ziran warlord, his mandibles clicking. Primitive explosions to move metal tubes. They fracture their own world with politics, said a Valith elder calmly. They are divided by borders they invented. The Koth Supreme Admiral leaned back in his throne of black alloy. They are loud, violent, short-lived. Nothing more. The vote was swift. Human space would be absorbed into the Koth expansion zone. No war declaration was required. The Koth Dominion did not declare war on ants. On Earth the sky burned. Admiral Elias Crow stood in the command pit of Earth Orbital Defense Platform 7, staring at the impossible shapes unfolding above the atmosphere. They were enormous. Koth warships tore reality open with controlled gravity wells. Each vessel was longer than Manhattan, armored in layered void plating that drank light. Their weapons hummed with contained stellar power. Earth's defense grid opened fire anyway. Railguns thundered. Missiles streaked upward. Lasers clawed at the dark. The shots vanished against Koth shields like rain on stone. Admiral, a young officer whispered, voice shaking, they're not even maneuvering. Crow swallowed. Because they don't need to. A single Koth ship fired once. Not at Earth. At the moon. The impact cracked Luna's surface, sending plumes of debris into space. The message was clear. Submit. Global panic followed. Cities went dark. Stock markets collapsed in seconds. Old rivalries vanished under shared terror. Within 12 hours, humanity did something the Galactic Assembly did not expect. They unified. The World Emergency Council formed in a single emergency session. Nuclear powers shared codes. Intelligence agencies opened vaults sealed for decades. Experimental projects were dragged into the light. Hidden shipyards. Black-budget AI. Physics that bent rules no alien thought humans could even see yet. Admiral Crow addressed the planet. We cannot match them ship for ship, he said, his voice calm but iron-hard. So we won't. He turned to Dr. Amina Reyes, head of Project Mirrorfall. Are the simulations ready? She nodded. They think war is about power. We know it's about choice. Above Earth, the Koth fleet waited. They expected surrender. Instead, every human signal went silent. No transmissions. No distress calls. No negotiations. The galaxy watched in confusion as humanity vanished behind a wall of darkness. And for the first time in 10,000 years of conquest, the Koth Dominion felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. Part 2, the first human trick. The Koth Strike Commander, Vrax, then, observed Earth from his flagship with mild irritation. They hide, he said. Predictable. His tactical AI showed no human ship movements, no energy spikes. Just silence. Begin planetary subjugation, Vrax then ordered. Gravity lances fired. They never reached Earth. Space folded. The weapons bent away, curving like light through water, slamming back into the Koth fleet itself. Alarm screamed. What is this? Vrax then roared. Human ships appeared. Not warships, junk. Old freighters, mining vessels, even asteroid chunks wrapped in engines. They erupted from warped space at impossible angles, moving in ways no inertial dampener should allow. They're ignoring safety limits, a Koth officer shrieked. They removed them, the AI replied. Human vessels crashed deliberately into Koth shields, detonating not explosives, but data. Information storms flooded Koth systems. False sensor ghosts. Recursive logic traps. Simulated fleets where none existed. They are weaponizing chaos, Vrax then hissed. Then Earth fired again. This time not at ships. At space itself. Project Mirrorfall activated. A lattice of quantum mirrors unfolded around Earth orbit, reflecting Koth targeting scans back into themselves. The Koth fleet fired, and hit their own projections. 3 Koth warships tore each other apart before the commander ordered a retreat. The Galactic Assembly went silent. No species had ever forced a Koth withdrawal. The blue dot brightened. Part 3, Politics of Fear. Emergency Session. The Zirans demanded extermination. The Valith demanded study. The Koth demanded revenge. They broke no laws, said the Valith elders softly. They exploited assumptions. Human ambassadors finally appeared, live, calm, unarmed. We do not seek domination, Ambassador Lu said. We seek deterrence. You are insects who learned a clever bite, sneered a Ziran. Lu smiled thinly. Then stop stepping on us. Behind the words, human fleets mobilized, not to attack but to observe. They mapped trade routes, energy dependencies, political fractures. Humans learned faster than anyone thought possible. And they shared nothing. Part 4, The Deadliest Warships Fall. The Koth returned with the Grave Armada. Human response was asymmetric. No fleets met them. Instead, stars went dark. Human probes triggered stellar instability algorithms, forcing Koth warships to choose between retreat or annihilation by natural forces. Then humans struck logistics. Fuel worlds collapsed into civil war after human mimetic broadcast. Supply chains broke. The Grave Armada starved. When humans finally engaged directly, it was surgical. Precision strikes. Boarding actions. Hacked AIs turned on their masters. A Koth dread arc surrendered. The galaxy gasped. Part 5, Alien Reactions. Fear spread. The Zirans fortified. The Valith withdrew. Minor species sought human alliances. They do not conquer, whispered one alien scholar. They outthink. Human war doctrine was studied in secret academies. Never fight where the enemy is strong. Never show your full hand. Make the enemy fight themselves. Humanity became legend. Part 6, The Final Test. The Galactic Assembly formed a coalition. Every deadliest warship united. They came for Earth. Humanity let them. Earth stood undefended. When the fleets arrived, Earth vanished. Not destroyed. Humanity had turned their entire planet into a mobile fortress using chain gravity wells. The coalition fired at empty space. Human fleets appeared behind them. The battle was short, decisive, final. Part 7, Who Wins? In the ruins of the assembly chamber, Ambassador Lu stood before the galaxy. You thought strength was size, she said. You thought power was weapons. You thought war was domination. She met their eyes. For humans, war is adaptation. The Galactic Charter was rewritten. Humanity did not rule the galaxy. They reshaped it. And the question echoed through every star system forever after. Humans versus the galaxy's deadliest warships? The answer was clear. Humans always win, because they refuse to fight the war you expect. The Koth Dominion did not retreat far. They hovered beyond the orbit of Mars, their warships forming a perfect geometric formation, cold, arrogant, certain. To the Koth, the failed strike at Earth was not defeat. It was a technical anomaly. A glitch. Something to be corrected with more force. Strike Commander Vrax then stood on the command dais of the dread warship Dominion of Ash, his 4 eyes fixed on the star map. Humans lack endurance, he said. They rely on surprise. We will apply pressure until they collapse. His tactical council clicked their mandibles in agreement. Prepare the suppression pattern, Vrax then ordered. We erase their outer colonies first. Cut morale. Then Earth will beg. Orders rippled across the fleet. The Koth warships advanced. They expected resistance at Europa. They found nothing. The icy moon drifted silently, mining stations abandoned. No heat signatures. No life signs. Even the orbiting satellites were dark. Scans confirm evacuation, reported a sensor officer. They fled. Vrax then relaxed slightly. Predictable. Then the moon cracked. Not exploded, folded. Space bent inward like a collapsing mirror. Europa's mass compressed, vanished, then reappeared behind the Koth formation. The sudden gravitational shift tore 3 escort ships apart instantly. Another spun wildly, engines screaming as its hull twisted under forces no Koth equation predicted. Alarms erupted. This is impossible, a commander shouted. No civilization at their level can manipulate mass like this. Vraxthen's eyes narrowed. They did not manipulate mass, he said slowly. They manipulated expectation. On Earth, deep beneath the Himalayan shield facility, Admiral Elias Crow watched the results scroll across his display. Europa relocation successful, reported Dr. Amina Reyes. Casualties minimal. Infrastructure intact. Crow exhaled. Good. That buys us time. A young officer looked up, confused. Sir, we just gave away a moon. Why move it at all? Reyes answered before Crow could. Because the Koth think like conquerors. They expect defense. We gave them absence. Then consequence. Crow turned to the room. Remember this, he said. We are not fighting their ships. We are fighting their certainty. Back in Koth space, confusion spread through the fleet. Reconfigure formations. Vrax then barked. Activate predictive targeting. The fleet AI complied, and immediately began contradicting itself. Targets appeared, vanished, multiplied. Human ships flickered in and out of detection, sometimes appearing inside Koth formations before dissolving into radiation ghosts. They are flooding our sensors with false realities, an officer said in disbelief. They are using broken ships, another added. Civilian hulls, outdated engines, yet they move like predators. Vrax then watched a human vessel drift forward slowly. It was small. Scarred. Its hull bore old paint and welded repairs. No weapons detected, the AI said. Destroy it, Vrax then ordered. The Koth fired. The human ship did not dodge. It split. The vessel unfolded into hundreds of fragments, each containing a compressed AI node. They detonated in sequence, not as explosions but as logic bombs. The Koth fleet's command network stuttered. For exactly 4 seconds the fleet lost hierarchical control. In those 4 seconds humanity struck. Hidden kinetic rounds, previously disguised as asteroid debris, accelerated to relativistic speed. They punched through shield harmonics timed to the microsecond. 2 cruisers died instantly. A dread escort lost power and drifted helplessly. Restore command. Vrax then roared. The AI complied, but something was wrong. Commander, it said slowly, some commands are originating from us. Vrax then froze. Human code had rewritten priority layers inside the Koth AI, something no species had ever done. They studied us, he whispered. In the Galactic Assembly, panic began to spread. They are not strong, hissed a Ziran observer. They are clever. They adapt mid-battle, said a Valith tactician, eyes wide. That is forbidden. Most species require generations. Screens showed Koth warships retreating, again. The blue dot expanded. Back at Earth the cost became clear. Human losses mounted. Crews burned alive in jury-rigged ships. Pilots made one-way jumps with no hope of recovery. Crow watched casualty reports scroll endlessly. We can't keep trading lives like this, a general said quietly. Crow nodded. I know. Reyes stepped forward. Then we escalate, not with firepower. She brought up a new projection. Koth supply worlds. Political nodes. AI reliquaries. We hit their foundation. Crow studied the map. Will it work? Reyes met his eyes. They think they are gods. Gods do not prepare for doubt. Crow straightened. Then let's introduce them to it. As the Koth fleet regrouped, Vrax then received an encrypted transmission. Human origin. Audio only. A calm voice spoke. This is Admiral Elias Crow of Earth. Vrax then snarled. You are insects delaying extinction. Crow replied evenly, no. We're students. Students of what? Of you. Silence followed. Then Crow added, quietly but clearly. And we learn very fast. The transmission cut. For the first time in his long life, Strike Commander Vrax then felt fear. Not of defeat, but of what humanity would become if allowed to continue. The Galactic Assembly had not convened in panic for over 6,000 years. Now the chamber trembled with it. Holographic stars flickered above the circular hall, each one representing a civilization. For the first time in living memory, those stars shifted position, not from natural motion but from military recalculation. At the center, a single blue light pulsed. Humanity. They are destabilizing the balance, roared Warlord Krozhel of the Ziran brood, his massive form coiled in aggression. The Koth have never retreated twice. This cannot be allowed. The Koth underestimated them, replied Elder Vales, her voice calm but strained. That does not make humans a plague. It makes them interesting. Interesting species get erased, Krozhel snapped. The Koth delegation remained silent. That silence frightened everyone. Strike Commander Vrax then watched the assembly through a secure quantum link from the Dominion of Ash. His armor bore fresh scoring. His fleet was damaged but not broken. The humans exploit irregularity, he finally said. They weaponize unpredictability. Our doctrine assumes rational escalation. They do not escalate. Then adapt, demanded a crystalline voice from the Threx Combine. Vrax then's mandibles twitched. We are adapting. But understand this, humans fight like a species that expects to lose, and plans for it. The chamber grew quiet. That concept unsettled ancient empires more than any weapon. When the human ambassador appeared, the tension sharpened. She stood alone. No guards. No armor. No visible implants. Just a woman in a dark uniform, hands folded calmly. "My name is Ambassador Mei Lu," she said. "I speak for Earth." Murmurs rippled through the hall. "You are outmatched," Crosshell snarled. "Your defiance delays extinction." Lu did not raise her voice. "You believe extinction is a single event," she said. "For humans, extinction has always been a process. Disease. Or collapse. We survive by adapting before the final blow." She gestured to the hologram. "We do not seek to rule you. We seek to ensure you never think of us as easy again." "Threats?" Crosshell hissed. "No," Lu replied. "Context." Behind the calm words, human strategy moved fast. Earth's fleets did not mass. They dispersed. Small task groups slipped into neutral space, disguised as traders, researchers, refugees. They listened. They mapped fear. Dr. Amina Reyes oversaw the intelligence flow. "Alien politics are slow," she told Admiral Crow. "They rely on tradition. That's their weakness." Crow studied intercepted communications. "They're arguing." "Yes," Reyes said. "And while they argue, we learn." Human analysts uncovered fractures. The Zirans depended on Koth supply lines. The Threks feared human AI. The Valith feared nothing, but valued knowledge above pride. Crow made a decision. "Open back-channel talks with the Valith." Reyes smiled. "They've been waiting for us to ask." In the assembly, Elder Valus YH received a private human transmission. No demands. Only data. Human battle recordings. Raw sensor logs. Casualty lists, human and alien alike. "They show their losses," Valus YH murmured. "Why?" "To demonstrate cost," said her aide. "They want us to understand them." Valus YH considered this. Most species hid weakness. Humans weaponized honesty. Meanwhile, the Ziran brood mobilized. They did not wait for assembly consensus. A Ziran war swarm plunged into human border space, targeting a minor colony world, Haven 12. The world had no fleet. Only a single defense platform. "This will end their myth," Crosshell declared. On Haven 12, civilians watched Ziran ships blot out the stars. Governor Elia Monroe stood in the command bunker, hands trembling. "We're alone," someone whispered. Monroe activated the emergency channel. "Earth," she said softly. "They're here." Admiral Crow answered instantly. "Hold," he said. "Just hold." The Zirans descended, weapons charging. They never fired. The planet's surface changed. Cities folded underground as pre-engineered tectonic plates shifted. Atmosphere ionizers turned the sky into a storm of electrical chaos. Ziran sensors went blind. Then the ground spoke. Automated human war constructs emerged. Machines designed not for conquest but for delay. They did not advance. They did not chase. They simply refused to die. Every Ziran shot cost them energy. Every human construct forced the swarm closer to exhaustion. After 6 hours, Ziran ships withdrew, not destroyed but depleted. Haven 12 survived. The myth grew. In the assembly, chaos erupted. "They defended without fleets," cried a Threx delegate. "They turned a planet into a trap," another said. Vrax then watched silently. "They are teaching us something," he said at last. "What?" demanded Crosshell. "That humanity is not fighting for victory," Vrax then replied. "They are fighting to reshape how war is understood." Ambassador Lu returned to the floor. "You see now," she said. "We do not win by overwhelming you." She paused. "We win by making war with us too expensive." The chamber fell silent. Stars shifted again. This time away from Earth. The Koth Dominion could no longer ignore humiliation. For the first time in their recorded history, their expansion had stalled, not against a rival empire, but against a species barely a few centuries into spaceflight. The Dominion answered the only way it knew how. With everything. The Grave Armada awakened. Across Koth space, ancient docks opened like tombs. Warships older than some stars powered up, their hulls etched with the names of extinct civilizations. These were not just weapons, they were symbols. When the Grave Armada moved, galaxies learned obedience. At its heart sailed the dread Arc Final Edict. Its main weapon was a caged stellar core. One shot could strip a planet to ash. Set course for human space, ordered High Executor Morvex, Supreme Commander of the Armada. No retreat. No mercy. The Armada surged forward, bending space under its mass. The galaxy watched in dread. On Earth, alarms did not ring. Admiral Elias Crow stood in silence as the projection filled the command chamber. Thousands of Koth warships. Perfect formation. Unstoppable force. A general whispered, "We can't win this head-on." Crow nodded. "We were never meant to." Dr. Amina Reyes brought up a different map. Koth logistics corridors. Fuel worlds. Command relays. AI sanctuaries. They built their war doctrine on overwhelming presence, she said. That means their supply lines are massive and predictable. Crow's eyes hardened. Then we don't fight the Armada, he said. We starve it. Human fleets did something no species expected. They ran. Human warships scattered in every direction, abandoning border systems, retreating deeper toward Sol. To alien observers it looked like collapse. The Zirans laughed. The Threks relaxed. Even some humans despaired. The Grave Armada advanced unopposed. Too easily. Then Koth supply convoys began to vanish. Not destroyed. Hijacked. Human boarding teams struck using stealth pods smaller than escape craft. They carried no heavy weapons, only code, tools, and brutal efficiency. Koth crews were stunned to find their ships locked from the inside, engines disabled by rewritten permissions. We are being taken apart, a Koth officer reported in disbelief. Piece by piece. Human forces did not claim the ships. They erased them. Self-scuttling protocols activated under false command authority. Entire convoys vanished without battle. The Grave Armada slowed. High Executor Morvex snarled. Increase escort density. That was exactly what humans wanted. As escorts clustered, fuel consumption spiked. Repair schedules stretched thin. Ancient systems, never meant for prolonged siege, began to fail. Human probes whispered false reports into Koth channels. Human fleets massing on your flank. Sol defenses collapsing. Ambush imminent. Koth commanders argued. Unity fractured. Then came the Battle of the Black Halo. A single Koth dread escort, the Unending Judgment, lagged behind for repairs. Human ships appeared. Only 12. Morvex laughed when he heard. 12 ships against a god vessel? But the humans did not attack the hull. They attacked time. Relativistic snares locked the Unending Judgment in a localized time dilation field. Seconds inside became hours outside. Human boarding teams breached at leisure. Koth warriors fought savagely, but human tactics were alien. Humans used sound, light, deception. They retreated to lure, sacrificed ground to isolate, used environments as weapons. After 8 brutal hours, the impossible happened. The Unending Judgment went silent. A human signal broadcast across all frequencies. This vessel is secure. The galaxy froze. In the assembly, delegates stared in horror. A Grave Armada ship, captured? Whispered a Threx. No, corrected Veilswatch softly. Not captured. The signal updated. This vessel is surrendering. High Executor Morvex felt something shatter inside him. Impossible, he breathed. Vrax, then watching remotely, understood. They did not beat us by strength, he said. They beat us by learning faster than we could adapt. Morvex turned to him. Then we escalate. Vrax then hesitated. To what? Morvex's eyes burned. To annihilation. The Grave Armada reformed. The final edict powered its stellar weapon. Target Earth. No warnings. No speeches. Just extinction. On Earth, Crow watched the energy spike. Time? He asked. 7 minutes, Reyes said. Crow closed his eyes. Then opened them. Execute phase black glass. Reyes hesitated. If we do this, there's no turning back. Crow's voice was steady. They chose this. As the final edict fired, space warped violently. The beam vanished. Not deflected. Redirected. Human technology, built from stolen insights, desperate experimentation and reckless courage, had done the unthinkable. They had bent a god weapon. The beam struck the final edict itself. The dread arc shattered in silence. The Grave Armada broke. Across the galaxy, one truth became unavoidable. The deadliest warships ever built were no longer invincible. Because they were designed to fight empires. Not humans. The galaxy did not sleep after the fall of the final edict. Across thousands of star systems, ancient assumptions collapsed overnight. The destruction of a Koth dread arc was not just a military loss, it was a cultural wound. Those ships were myths made metal. Their defeat shattered belief. In Koth space, worlds went silent. High Executor Morvex was dead. His flagship reduced to drifting wreckage. The Grave Armada scattered, its surviving commanders retreating to defend their home systems. For the first time, the Koth Dominion faced something worse than invasion. Doubt. In the Galactic Assembly, chaos ruled. Delegates shouted. Holograms flickered as representatives abruptly disconnected to handle emergencies at home. The humans turned a stellar weapon against its owner, cried a Threx technocrat. That violates every known limitation. They built it in months, added another. We needed centuries. They are not following the rules, hissed a Xeran elder. That makes them dangerous. Elder Velaswage remained silent, watching the blue light that marked humanity's position. They follow rules, she finally said. Just not ours. Fear spread faster than fleets. Minor civilizations began issuing quiet evacuation orders. Border worlds reinforced shields. Trade routes shifted away from human space, not out of hostility but caution. Humanity had become unpredictable. And unpredictability was the galaxy's greatest terror. On Earth there was no celebration. Admiral Elias Crow sat alone in the darkened command chamber, reading casualty reports. Thousands dead. Ships lost forever. Crews burned, crushed, erased. Dr. Amina Reyes stood nearby. We did it, she said softly. Crow shook his head. We survived. That's different. Reyes hesitated. The galaxy sees us as something else now. Crow looked up. As what? She swallowed. As a problem that needs a permanent solution. The first betrayal came from the Xeran brood. Publicly they called for restraint. Privately they prepared extermination. A Xeran covert fleet slipped through uncharted space, targeting Atlas Station, a human diplomatic hub near neutral territory. No civilians were evacuated. The message was clear. And the humans quietly. The Xerans never reached the station. Human long-range sentinels detected the fleet days earlier. Instead of intercepting, humans did something worse. They let the Xerans talk. Human agents injected subtle data leaks into Xeran networks. False intelligence suggesting the Koth were preparing a surprise attack on Xeran brood worlds. By the time the Xeran fleet realized the deception, panic had set in. Orders conflicted. Formations broke. Then Koth patrols appeared, real ones. The Xeran fleet was caught between imagined betrayal and actual enemies. No human ship fired a shot. The Xerans destroyed each other trying to retreat. Atlas Station remained untouched. In the assembly the truth emerged. They manipulated us into killing our own, Crozhell roared, mandibles dripping venom. This is psychological warfare. Lou's hologram appeared again. We did not force your choices, she said calmly. We revealed the consequences of mistrust. You are monsters, Crozhell spat. Lou's expression hardened. No, she replied. We are survivors. Meanwhile, alliances began to shift. The Valith opened formal dialogue with Earth. We wish to understand your methods, Velaswage said. Crow answered honestly. We break problems into pieces. Then we test solutions until something works. Velaswage tilted her head. That sounds inefficient. Crow smiled grimly. It is. That's why it works. Other species followed quietly. The Threx shared shielding data. Minor coalitions requested human advisors. Even some Koth worlds began sending encrypted messages. Not surrender. Questions. Inside the Koth Dominion, civil fracture deepened. Traditionalists demanded annihilation. Reformists demanded negotiation. Younger commanders questioned doctrine for the first time in centuries. Vrax then stood before a council of Koth elders. We cannot win this war as it is defined, he said. Humans fight like a plague. You do not defeat a plague with fleets. Then what do you suggest? An elder demanded. Vrax then hesitated. Change. The word was poison. Earth's intelligence confirmed something terrifying. Multiple species were secretly collaborating, not to attack humans but to study them. Human war logs circulated in forbidden networks. Tactical principles were dissected like religious texts. Rez briefed Crow. They're trying to copy us. Crow frowned. Can they? Not completely, Reyes said. They don't think the same way. But if they adapt even partially. Crow finished the thought. We lose our edge. Ambassador Lou proposed a dangerous move. We stop hiding our strength, she said. We define the narrative. Crow raised an eyebrow. By doing what? By drawing a line, Lou replied. A rule everyone understands. The Galactic Assembly reconvened. Humanity requested the floor. Every species listened. We will not expand, Lu said. We will not conquer. But we will respond to aggression with overwhelming precision. She paused. We are not your enemy. But we will be your final mistake if you choose us as one. Silence followed. Then Velaswadich spoke. The galaxy has always feared strength, she said. Perhaps it should fear resolve. As the session ended, one final transmission reached Earth. Origin, unknown. Content, coordinates far beyond known space. Message, we have been watching humanity. You are not Apex. You are an anomaly. Crow stared at the screen. Reyes whispered, there's something worse out there. Crow nodded slowly. Then we'd better be ready. The message did not come through any known channel. It bypassed relays, ignored encryption, and appeared simultaneously on every major human system. One line. We have been observing. Then coordinates. Far beyond mapped space. Past dead stars. Past regions even ancient empires avoided. Dr. Amina Reyes stared at the data. This isn't a civilization, she said quietly. It's a presence. The Valith reacted first. We know of them, Elder Velaswaich admitted in a private council with humanity. They are called the Null Choir. They do not conquer. They erase. Admiral Crow felt a chill. Why hasn't anyone warned us? Velaswaich lowered her gaze. Because warning them attracts them. The Null Choir had no ships in the traditional sense. They moved as void structures. Vast, shifting geometries that drank energy and information alike. Sensors failed near them. AIs went mad. Civilizations vanished without battles. They were the reason ancient empires never expanded too far. And now they were coming. The Galactic Assembly fractured instantly. The Zirans fled inward. The Threx shut down entire data networks. The Koth were silent. Vrax then sent a single message to Earth. We were wrong. Humanity did not retreat. They consolidated. Every ship returned to Sol. Every weapon, experimental or forbidden, was activated. Earth's orbit filled with constructs humanity had never shown the galaxy. Crow addressed the planet. This is not a war we can win alone, he said. But it is one we can prepare for. Reyes brought up projections of the Null Choir. They consume predictability, she explained. Patterns, orders, signals. Crow nodded slowly. Then we give them none. Humanity made a choice that horrified the galaxy. They turned off their AIs. Every autonomous system. Every predictive network. Every machine intelligence that thought ahead. Command returned to humans. Slow. Emotional. Irrational. Perfect. When the Null Choir entered human space they found chaos. Human fleets did not form lines. They did not respond to threats consistently. Some ships charged. Some fled. Some shut down mid-battle. The choir hesitated. For the first time in eons, they encountered something they could not harmonize. The first engagement took place near Jupiter. A choir structure unfolded like a dark flower, swallowing energy from the gas giant's magnetosphere. Human ships fired wildly. Missiles missed. Lasers scattered. Then something unexpected happened. Human pilots changed tactics mid-thought. No coordination. No pattern. Just instinct. Choir geometries fractured. They could not predict irrational behavior. Losses were terrible. Entire human squadrons vanished. Crews screamed as reality folded. Ships aged centuries in seconds. Crow watched feeds until his hands bled from clenched fists. We're buying time, Reyes said, voice breaking. For what? Crow asked. Reyes hesitated. For humanity's last trick. Deep beneath Earth, Project Odyssey Black activated. Human scientists had studied the Null Choir's nature. They did not destroy matter. They erased meaning, information, memory. Reyes explained it simply. They are order without emotion. We are emotion without order. Crow understood. Weaponize that. Humanity transmitted something no species had ever used as a weapon. A story. Billions of human memories, dreams, fears, contradictions. Broadcast raw into the void. No structure. No compression. No logic. Pain. Love. Rage. Hope. The Null Choir recoiled. They tried to harmonize the signal. They failed. Their structures destabilized, screaming in gravitational distortion. For the first time the choir retreated. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The impossible had happened again. Humans had not outgunned the enemy. They had overwhelmed it with humanity itself. But victory came at a price. Earth's orbit was shattered. Mars burned. Millions were dead. Crow stood before the ruins of the planet he had sworn to protect. "We survived," Reyes whispered. Crow nodded slowly. "But the galaxy will never forget what we did." A final message echoed across the stars. From the Null Choir. "You are not anomaly. You are contagion." Crow closed his eyes. "Good," he said softly. "That means you'll stay away." The war ended without a treaty. There was no signing ceremony. No victory parade. No formal surrender broadcast across the stars. There was only silence. 3 standard cycles after the Null Choir's retreat, no major fleet moved. Trade routes lay empty. Borders remained unchallenged. The galaxy, vast and ancient, held its breath. Because everyone was thinking the same thing. If humanity could do that, what else could they do? Earth was wounded but alive. Orbital debris formed a silver ring of broken stations and burned hulls. The moon bore new scars. Mars glowed faintly at night, its atmosphere torn but not lost. Humans rebuilt. Not with celebration but with quiet purpose. Admiral Elias Crow walked through the ruins of Orbital Platform 7, the place where the war had begun. Engineers worked in silence. Welders sparked like small stars against black metal. Dr. Amina Reyes stood beside him. "We won," she said. Crow shook his head slowly. "We endured." Reyes smiled faintly. "That's what winning looks like for us." The Galactic Assembly reconvened at last. The chamber was different now. Smaller. Empty thrones marked extinct species, withdrawn empires, and those who chose isolation over exposure. At the center of the chamber, a new symbol burned brighter than the rest. Not a throne. A seat. Humanity's. Ambassador Mei Lu stepped forward. She wore no medals. No armor. Only a simple dark uniform. "We are not here to rule," she said. "And we are not here to threaten." Murmurs rippled. She raised her hand. "We are here because the galaxy has learned something important." She gestured toward the star map. Power alone fails. Perfection breaks. Systems collapse. What survives is adaptability. The Valith elder Valiswayh inclined her head. "The galaxy has always feared chaos," she said. "Now it understands its value." The new charter was brief. No forced expansion. No extermination campaigns. No weapons capable of erasing stars. And one final clause written at humanity's request. No civilization may be declared negligible. It passed unanimously. Vrax then watched from the shadows. No longer a commander. No longer a conqueror. Just an observer. Humanity had not destroyed the Koth Dominion. They had changed it. Young Koth officers studied human doctrine now, not as heresy but as survival theory. Vrax then found Admiral Crow alone after the session. "You could have ended us," Vrax then said. "Why didn't you?" Crow looked at him. "Because then someone else would fear becoming you." Vrax then considered this. "That is a very human answer." Far beyond known space, the void remained quiet. The Null Choir did not return. Ancient probes detected no harmonics. No patterns. No approach vectors. Only distance. Humanity had not defeated them. Humanity had convinced them that returning was not worth the cost. Years passed. Human ships traveled farther but carefully. Not as conquerors but as problem solvers. They mediated wars, stabilized failing worlds, dismantled doomsday weapons they themselves had inspired. Some feared them. Some admired them. Most respected them. Because humans did not promise safety. They promised response. On Earth, a memorial was built. No statues. No heroic carvings. Just names. Millions of them. Crow stood before it one last time before retirement. Reyes joined him. "Do you ever wonder," she asked, "how the galaxy will remember us?" Crow thought for a long moment. "They'll say we were dangerous," he said. Reyes nodded. "They won't be wrong." In a distant system, a young alien asked its teacher a question. "Why do the humans scare everyone?" The teacher answered carefully. "Because they are not the strongest, or the fastest, or the most advanced." "Then why?" "Because when faced with extinction," the teacher said, "humans do not ask how to survive as they are." They paused. "They ask how to become something new." The stars burned on. Empires rose and fell. But one truth echoed across every data archive, every war college, every cautious first contact briefing. Humans are not the galaxy's deadliest species. They are something worse. They are the species that learns. Humans versus the galaxy's deadliest warships. Who wins? The answer was no longer debated. Because the galaxy had already lived it. Humanity wins. not by conquering the stars, but by refusing to be conquered by them.